If you've played Rainbow Six Siege for any period of time, then you've probably heard these 3 words. Rainbow is dying. People constantly complaining about this game, but yet they pour thousands of hours of their time into it. Why does the Rainbow Six community feel this way? What aspects of the game make people think this? As someone who's put easily 5,000 plus hours in this game, I thought it would be interesting to research the game's history and figure out why people believe the game is dying. I first wanted to look into what a lot of people believe is Rainbow Six Siege's prime. 2018 to 2019, specifically the esports scene. Esports around this time was absolutely electric. You had Penta, Ninjas in Pajamas, Fnatic, and a bunch of other insanely competitive teams. Organizations really cared about their players and they were paid extremely well. The Rainbow Six Siege 2018 Invitational reached an all-time peak viewership of 316,000. But in 2023, the peak viewership was almost 100,000 less at only 232,000. There's been a lot of controversy over pro organizations refusing to pay their players. On top of that, multiple orgs have had to leave the game altogether because they couldn't afford to keep their roster going. I conducted an interview with Merc, a pro Rainbow Six player for Wildcard and a former pro player for TSM, to get a pro player's perspective on why R6 Esports and even just R6 as a whole has lost so much traction. So the first question I asked Merc was, what has your experience been like playing at a professional level? Is it better or worse in 2023? My experience playing as a pro in 2023 has been very positive for my mental health, because I have more fun on this team compared to others, but considering the pay has gone down, it's been a little more stressful as well money-wise. The second question I asked Merc was, why do you believe Rainbow Six Esports has lost so many viewers and teams? Merc responded by saying, I think R6 Esports lost lots of viewers because people don't enjoy watching the same stale game with the same maps and the same teams and the same ops. They allow cheaters to run the game all day long, and when people watch something, they usually want to play it, and Siege is one of the hardest games to learn as a newcomer, and on top of that, trying to watch streamers and pros play against cheaters probably ruins it for them. The third question I asked Merc is there a reason pro organizations aren't paying their teams? Pro organizations aren't paying their teams as much anymore because Ubisoft took away a stipend that they used to give orgs, and that was what allowed orgs to pay their players well and still make money from their pilot skins. Once Ubisoft took that from the orgs, it's coming straight out of the orgs' pocket if they choose to stay in Siege, which means orgs need to lower their salaries significantly. And the final question I asked Merc is, do you ever see the game returning to its former glory? He says, I think the game needs to be more taken care of with a better anti-cheat before it can become what it once was. Obviously, every game has their peak and downfall, but the good game's downfall isn't as bad if they can maintain a plan to keep players coming back. And if someone takes a break from Siege and comes back and cheaters are still a problem, they'll just give it up for good. Anyone who plays Rainbow knows that the game is crawling with cheaters, and it seems like the game developers don't do anything to stop it. In my opinion, this is the biggest reason the community believes the game is dying. On PC, you have to deal with people using macros and wall hacks in almost every game, and if you thought you were safe on console, trust me, you aren't. Zims are an issue and have been since the game's release. We have seen the devs make some changes to try and stop these Zim users, but it seems to never be enough. A lot of people beg the question, if you know who's using these Zims, why not just ban them? This is a controversial topic. It's sad to say, but mouse and keyboard users on console make up a large percentage of the community. Banning them would mean losing a lot of money and players. I personally think the console scene would be an overall better place without the plague of Zim users, but it seems Ubisoft will never ban them. And cheating as a community member is bad enough, but recently there was even a pro player who had played the game at a high level for years who was caught cheating. Aces was a German pro player for Wild Esports who was recently banned until 2024 under suspicions of him cheating at LAN events. After Aces was banned, he made no statements and completely deleted his X account. There's no 100% confirmation to whether he was cheating or not, but a large portion of the community was not really shocked when he was put under investigation. This whole scenario really makes you wonder if an actual pro player can cheat right in front of Ubisoft's eyes and they didn't catch it for years. Can we really trust them to improve the anti-cheat and Zim problem? I've got to say, it's hard to argue with the facts. How can you enjoy the game when you can never seem to play against legit people? The devs need to do something soon or cheaters will take over and I believe the game will truly die. The last topic I want to touch on is something that is overlooked by a lot of people, and that is the Rainbow Six community as a whole. I know you game chat users can think of multiple occasions where your teammates were just complete weirdos. This might not seem like a huge deal, but put yourself in the shoes of a brand new player. The game itself is already a lot to take in and try to learn. On top of that, you have veteran players degrading these new players instead of guiding them in the right direction. I will admit the devs have tried to put a stop to this with the voice and game chat bans, the reputation system, and the accommodation system, but that can only take us so far. At the end of the day, we as a community have to do better. A lot of people don't know this, but many new R6 players quit within their first day of playing. A lot of that is due just to the game being hard, but imagine that person playing made a friend, or just met someone nice that gave them even the smallest tips for their gameplay. This simple change in our behavior could easily attract and keep more players on the game. This is obviously not the biggest issue with the game, and I'm not saying everyone in the community is terrible, but I personally do believe being more positive would make the game just more enjoyable overall. I understand that my opinion might not mean much to you guys because most of you probably have no idea who I am. So I also conducted an interview with popular TikToker RoyalPenguins just to get his input and see if he thinks that the community could really be killing the game. Alright, so the first question I had is, a lot of new Rainbow Six players quit the game within their first few hours of playing. Do you believe the toxic community of Rainbow Six Siege could be the reason for this?
I think that the reason why a lot of people quit is because of how hard the game really is itself. I mean, I think that the community, like in terms of like, it's not something you can never play and then go and pick up and then be good at versus a game like Call of Duty where it's going to put you in skill-based matchmaking, where it's going to put you in all that. Compared to Siege, if you were to even try and get into any skill-based matchmaking, you have to level 50 off the rip. I mean, like maybe casual has some hidden MMR, but a lot of people make new accounts, so it's like you're going to be versing a lot of much better and much more experienced people. And if you're new, it's like you know nothing and there's so much to learn and it's very hard to learn everything right away. I mean, I think the community definitely pushes a lot of people away because people are, freaks in the Siege community. But I definitely think it also has to do with the fact of how like hard to adapt to the game it is.
And question 2, do you think the accommodation or reputation systems made the game less toxic, or do you think it just had no effect at all?
I don't think it really affected anything. I mean, I think to an extent it's going to work because, I mean, what's going to happen is if somebody does report somebody for toxicity, right? Like they're going to lose their privileges to type in chat. So I mean, it does, work, but I don't think it's going to stop anyone. Like I don't think anybody's going to, you know, just stop being toxic because they're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to get accommodation banned. You know what I mean? But I
Right.
definitely think it works. Like if somebody does do something bad and they get reported, then they're not gonna be able to talk. So that will work in that form. But I don't think that's gonna like people are gonna be afraid. People should make a new account if they have to.
Right. The same thing with like cheating. People just make new accounts.
Exactly.
Do you
Let me
believe?
hear it.
Do you think the game is dying?
No, I think the game was dying, or I would more say declining. I don't think the game will ever die because of how I look at Siege like a drug. I feel like people you can't quit it. Like it's like I'm convinced like yeah you can maybe leave it for like a month or two, but like you always come back. Like I've been playing the same game for 8 fucking years and I can't stop playing it. So it's like I'll take a little bit of a break, but then I'm especially with content now I just go back into it. But
Yeah.
it's like the game was definitely declining a little bit, and then Jinxie blew up, and
Right.
now currently on console there's like I believe it's over 2 million players, almost 3 million players. Um, and that's an actual stat because the R6 stat tracker like posted a link and it was like 4% our people are champions on console, and it was like I think it was like 38,000. So doing the math of 4% of 38,000, it made it up to like 2 million people. So and that was like literally like 4 seasons ago. So now you have to imagine how many more people Jinxie has brought in. Especially if you look at the streams the other day with Clicks and Ronaldo, they had over like 150,000 new eyes on the game. Then you have Tim the Tatman playing, Doctor's Respect. So right now the game is one on the Steam charts at the highest ever been in the last 2 years, and that's just Steam, not including Uplay. And then you look at console, and it's the most it's ever been on console by an insane amount. So I think the game is thriving right now, to be honest.
Awesome. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to say about people saying the game is dying, or just anything on that topic?
I think everybody says every game is dying. Like the amount of times that a new Fortnite update will come out, people would say, "Oh, this game is fucking dying. Fortnite's dead."
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, if you look at the player numbers, clearly it's not dead. And then like even like with Siege too, Siege has been in the top 10 for Steam for how long now? It always goes up and down. The top 10 played games, so like clearly it's not dead.
Right.
And I just think people throw around the word dead game way too often when it's like everybody calls every game that they play that they're like pissed off of the people at dead. Or if they don't play the game, they call it dead.
Right.
Like most games are not actually dead. Like just because you don't play it doesn't mean it's dead. And if you actually took time to look at the stats, you would see that like the game's not dead. People are just stupid.
So we've covered the esports scene, cheaters, and the Rainbow Six community. With all this new information in mind, plus input we got from the pro player and the content creator, do you believe this game is spiraling to its inevitable end? Although nobody can say for sure, I believe some things need to change very soon, or the game will go down a dark, irredeemable path and eventually just lose its spark altogether. I really hope this video opens some eyes and turns some heads. One day at a time, we can be the change this game so desperately needs. Thank you guys for watching. If you want more videos like this in the future, let me know in the comments and consider subscribing.